Hello and welcome to SwiftMotion Media Podcast. My name is Paul Lalovich. I'm the CEO and the founder of Synthetic Equity, as well as the managing director of Agile Dynamics. Today we have a very, very interesting guest with us, Jonathan Emmanuel. He is the CEO of the Zenith Chain. So welcome. We are definitely looking forward to learning more about you, Jonathan. So why don't we kick it off with introduction?
Right. I'm Jonathan Emmanuel, CEO and founder of Zenith Chain. Zenith Chain is a hybrid blockchain. The idea of Zenith Chain came to me around December 2020 when there was this bull run of Ethereum and the whole crypto craze started. So back then in Nigeria, I do normally transact in Bitcoin, in Ethereum and all, but the gas fee just skyrocketed all of a sudden. And for a Nigerian to pay $5 in gas fee is quite a lot. It's a lot. So I thought to myself, there should be something that can be done with, the gas fee about Ethereum and all of that. So that's where the idea of Zenith Chain came in. I'm this kind of person that loves to know how something works. Growing up back in the days, I normally used to take gadgets, my parents' gadgets, electronic gadgets, and let's say, for example, I took out a DVD player one time, and I opened it up to see how it actually works. How does the video show on the TV? So that is just how I am.
Did you put it back?
No, I couldn't put it back. So I just love being inquisitive about something. So I looked into Ethereum. I looked at the code because my background, I'm a full stack developer. I went into full stack development around 2018. But before then, I did a computer hardware training, some kind of an apprenticeship system where I learned how to repair computers. I did very well there. Then I decided, one day I saw web and all of that. I said, let me go into software. So I learned software development, full stack. I code in Python, PHP, Java, and a whole lot of other programming language. So looking at Ethereum code, I sort of understood, there are a lot of blockchains out there, and that's a way you can actually tweak the Ethereum code, release a new protocol, and actually kind of solve this gas fee issue. So that's where Zenith Chain was born. I just went online, made a post about who wants to be a co-founder about a blockchain, and then I met my co-founder and CTO, Rajesh Chinadurai. So we looked into Ethereum. We saw that it's a public, open domain, and we looked into Ripple that time, XRP, and we saw that it's private. So we'd say Ripple has a very low gas fee and fast transaction, but it's private. No one can build on it. You can just use it for transacting only. And Ethereum, on the other end, is open source. Anybody can build on it, okay? And but it's too slow and too expensive. So that's where the word hybrid came from. So we took a better part of that private and a better part of that public, put it together, and created Zenith Chain. Originally, we wanted to go with proof of stake authority, but then looking at proof of stake authority, the gas fee, we won't still be able to keep the gas fee low, and the congestion will be much. So we just decided to go for proof of authority straight up. So Ethereum is proof of work, which is about to transition to proof of stake. So we are proof of authority. What that means is we are able to delegate the validators and increase the validators to any amount at all we need. Meanwhile, if we decided to go for proof of stake authority earlier, we will have only 24 validators and there will be congestion on the network. Take, for example, the Binance Smart Chain today. There's always congestion when there's peak in the network activities. So proof of authority kind of solves all the problems. We launched that December 2021, and after a pre-sale, we went out there, and so far it's been really good. Our uptime is around 99.8%. We've only been down about 2 times, just validator issues, but I think going forward, we're never going to go down again because we've increased validators to a substantial level where it cannot go down again at all. So that's just a brief intro about myself and a little about Zenith Chain.
Wow. So, for our audience, just to give them a bit of a context, this podcast is like once upon a time in America. You first start with one of the action scenes, and then you slowly bring them into the context. So, I met with the leadership team of Zenith Chain during our event in Lagos, Nigeria. So a few weeks back, we have organized Web3 Delight Lagos, and that was an event focused on socializing the idea of Web3 technology. And one thing that really piqued my interest in this organization is that they have built their own native blockchain layer. They are a group of young entrepreneurs, as you can see, full of energy and ambition. And what I would really like to understand now, let's kind of track it back. And so Jonathan, what do your parents think? What do you do? How would they describe your job?
Okay. Let's say crazy.
Okay.
Well, they've always known me to be this kind of person that is word off the book.
Okay.
When I finished high school, my parents pushed me to go to the university, but I refused. I said, the university is a total waste of time.
Okay.
It's going to waste my 4 years for nothing.
But to tell us more about that, how did you have that foresight at such a young age, and what was the thought process?
I would say research. I just love reading. I'm this kind of person that love reading. Where I stayed, I lived with my foster mom back in the capital of Nigeria, and her husband who is my uncle, is a politician, so he has a lot of books in his house. I just picked interest one day, and I decided to read all the books in the house. So I read and read. I read a lot of encyclopedias and all this stuff. So it just picked my idea to create something. I don't know how to put it. This idea of just being inquisitive came into my mind. So immediately after high school, I did not want to go to the university because it's going to be a total waste of my time. So I told my dad, why don't you put me in an apprenticeship system? I want to learn how to repair computers. Okay. So that's where it started. Okay. I went out there. I started learning how to repair computers. I got so good, I even opened my own workshop.
Wow.
In Nigeria. That time I was just around, I think 16, 17 years. Yeah. So I opened my own workshop, started working. I even had about 2 apprentices under me.
Wow.
At that age. So, and then I think one day someone who builds CMS for schools. Okay. So the person came from the capital to our own town, and he was going about building CMS for secondary schools. So that CMS basically converts their exams and results into, they buy e-pins and try to check their results online instead of going to pick the result physically from the school. So that's what he was creating for them. So his computer crashed, and he came to me. So I was repairing the PC, and I saw everything that was on it. I was not asking him, how do you build a website? How does this stuff work? So that's where the idea of software came in. Wow. And I was just so fascinated. Say, wow, so someone can build a website. How is it that easy? Is it that hard? And then I started doing research. I got online one time, and I saw that Google was giving scholarship for mobile app development. So I applied, and I got the scholarship. So I took the mobile application course, and it went well for about 6 months. I graduated there, and then I went out. By then, my dad was still pressing me to go to university. So I just applied online, and I got the admission. So I started computer science and computer engineering online university. So I finished the university 2020 December, still all online, only went to the school once or twice, and passed with a second class upper. And by that time, I also finished with the software development and all. So I started building mobile apps. I had an idea one time in Nigeria to build a mobile apps for corpers. So who are corpers in Nigeria? Corpers are when someone graduates from the fourth year in university, when someone graduates in Nigeria, there's this mandatory service that you have to do 1 year to the country, just like the military service they do in Israel.
Yeah.
So it's a mandatory service, but it's not military. But you have to just do some kind of community service.
Social service, yeah.
Okay. 1 year. So I met up with a friend. We wanted to build an app to help these couples be able to communicate within themselves and the whole 36 states of Nigeria. Because every year, over 100,000 graduate from the university, and it's really hard going to a community you don't know. They speak different language because there are over 500 languages in Nigeria. And what the government do is, if you studied in the south, they will take you to the far north to do your service. So it's crazy. It's completely different environment, different food, everything. So we wanted to create an app to help those couples be able to socialize with the environment they are going even before they reach there, instead of as opposed to the traditional part of joining WhatsApp group, Facebook groups and all. So that app helps them to connect and all of that.
How did that go?
It didn't go well because we didn't get the funding we were looking for.
Oh my goodness.
We started building it. We reached out to a lot of angel investors in Nigeria there. Mm-hmm. None of them believed. We dropped the idea because the funding wasn't there. And then going forward, then I built another application again. This time around, it was a website.
Okay.
Because I noticed this craze in Nigeria. Everybody bets, football betting.
Okay.
Yeah, and they lose a lot. Meanwhile, the Nigerian economy, I think the largest economy in Nigeria, the largest
in Africa,
let's say the largest services in Nigeria, it's oil, okay, crude oil. But after crude oil, the next thing is betting.
Wow.
Football betting. So billions of dollars have been transacted in sport betting in Nigeria every day. So I decided, okay, I'm going to create a system where those that know how to bet will create a profile on the website. And then those that want to learn and take the tips from them will subscribe to their profile monthly and then just be getting tips. If it's every weekend or every day, depends on how the tipster wants to place his tips. So I created that. Reached out to angel investors also. Already built the website. It was a CMS system. I built it. The investors didn't fall in, so I dropped that also. And then the third venture that kind of picked up for me was how do I put it? A software. I created a system, registered the company in the US, registered it in Nigeria also. It was a system where I wanted to connect Nigerian developers with US companies because I noticed there was sometimes I was applying for jobs in the US and the average cost for developers in the US is about $85,000 to $180,000 a year. Meanwhile, in Nigeria, it's not even more than $7,000. So I created a platform for that. That was Tipstack LLC. The company is still functioning up to now. So I was connecting developers from Nigeria to the US and all of that, and that really paid out. That is where the whole thing...
That was your rise to fame, essentially, and commercial success. That's awesome.
That's where the whole thing picked up. All this while, my parents were just looking, oh, God, this guy's crazy.
Trouble.
Why don't you go to school? Why don't you do this? Well, I told them I went to school. I got the result. I got the certificate. Here's the certificate. I'm not using it to do anything.
Yeah.
I haven't really even worked in a corporate for complete 4 months.
Yep.
If I work in a place more than 3 months, I resign because they don't have the culture that I want. It's just a circle going around, nothing to innovate, nothing, no new thing to
It's too slow for you.
Too slow.
Awesome. I just want to add to what Jonathan was highlighting. I personally didn't have much insight in terms of the demographics as well as the energy and enthusiasm you can find in Nigeria, especially among the young professional graduates, even high school kids who really want to offer something fresh to this world. So when we did this Web3 Delight Lagos, I would say that almost over 98%, 99% of participants, delegates, were university graduates. Mm-hmm. So high degree of education, a lot of energy, a lot of ambition. So tell me, how does that feed into your business? How's Zenith Chain, channeling all this energy into a success story?
Okay, yeah. Looking at Nigeria, we notice about 75 to 80% of the population is less than 35 years.
Yeah.
It's a teeming population that needs to be, to be put in the right direction. That's why today, if you look outside, there are a lot of this dark cloud and bad news about Nigeria, that there are a lot of scammers and all, because Nigerians are kind of the people, the Nigerians themselves, the youths, they're people that, they're crazy smart.
Yeah.
And if you don't put them in the right direction, they are going to do a lot of crazy things in the world. That's why there are a lot of scammers from Nigeria and all of that.
Yeah.
And it's just a small portion. There are a lot of other great Nigerians doing great things out there.
Yeah.
So that's where Zenith Chain, we started just as a regular blockchain. But then over the years, we started expanding. We noticed, this is Nigeria. Why don't we go back to Nigeria? Let's create some kind of an accelerator system. Let's help these developers be able to build, wonderful application, real life problem-solving applications out there. So that's where Zenith Chain is leaning to right now. And so far, we've made a lot of progress there. We've already incorporated Zenith Chain in Nigeria. We're working to, set up an office, set up an accelerator system where everyone is welcome to come and build. Because I believe the next big tech, the next big thing is going to come out of emerging markets. We're talking of Nigeria, we're talking of India, we're talking of Vietnam, Brazil, and all these countries. The next big tech is going to come out of that region. In Nigeria, okay, over one in every 5 persons knows Bitcoin. They know crypto, but they don't know the technology behind it. To just know, if I buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin and I leave it for the next 1 year, it's going to appreciate. I'm going to make money. If I transact, if I do this, if I do that, it's easy. I don't need to do KYC and all of that. So they know Bitcoin, but they don't know the technology behind it. They don't know the great things that can be done with crypto. For example, in Nigeria, we have this problem of piracy in the music industry and also in the movie industry. Now, these industries, they don't know that blockchain can help solve this in, split seconds. So that is what we want to do. That is what we are coming to do. Take, for example, there was a recent partnership, VeChain and Gucci. Looking at VeChain, VeChain is a blockchain that helps some kind of, how do I put it? It helps things, you can't duplicate anything on VeChain. It can help you make things, I've forgotten the word, but make things just as it is. And in Nigeria, that is what we want to do. We want to also channel our energy into the movie industry, into the music industry, because Nigerian music industry has grown to be one of, if you're talking about hip hop, the next thing is Afropop.
Yeah.
In Nigeria. So there's a lot of piracy also going on there. Even in the even in the movie industry, there's a lot of piracy. That's what we want to focus on. Want to help them, want to talk to them and say, we have a blockchain. We can help you build a system to help curb this piracy, to help destroy, keep everything simple. And, you make your money, everything comes as it should be. Not someone in one town pirating everything you're doing. You create one copy, the person creates 1 million copies and all of that. So this is where blockchain is going to help in Nigeria. And also in terms of election, we're also leaning through that way. Yeah. We're just waiting. Now, Nigeria has another election next year. Now, if that election doesn't go the way it should go, there's going to be a lot of problems in Nigeria, let's say. So we are sort of kind of helping, trying to profile these solutions to the government and say, this is a blockchain. It can actually help curb election rigging, because there's always election rigging in Nigeria, always. But that is also another way Zenith Chain is leaning to help Nigeria and a lot of other things. And there are just a lot.
No, that's amazing, and I really think you're not necessarily doing justice by not sharing the context. What's important is to highlight that there are demographic projections that Nigeria by end of the century is going to have very likely more people than China. Mm-hmm. There is over, I think, like 220 million people currently living in Nigeria. So it's definitely one of the superpowers in making. And as you rightly recognize, the young population needs direction, needs support in terms of finding their, destiny. And that's where the technology can really play a massive role. So that brings me to my next question, if you don't mind. Like, what's that one thing that nobody agrees with you in your company? So, when you guys are having your meetings, is there one thing, that are like, oh my goodness, Jonathan, again, like, so what's that thing? Like, is it a technology related? Is it business operations related? What's your kind of like beef with everybody? If there is one, I don't know.
Yeah, there are lots, of course. There are lots. It is, let's say, technology related, because I love, following the trend in the market.
Okay.
And then on the other hand, they just want to say, oh, let's build one thing for now. Let's scale with this before we jump into another. But me, when I see something, I want us to always follow the trend in the market.
Sure.
Add the new features that are necessary. But a lot of them in the team, they just want us to stick to one thing and just
solidify.
Just build one thing for now. But I want us to always explore. I want us to be everywhere in the market. That's why we started with a blockchain. Then from a blockchain, we created some kind of a Web3 exchange to help the developers on the blockchain to launch on our exchange, better to the market. And also within the coming months, I'm also looking to introduce some kind of a lab, a Zenith lab system. I haven't told them this, but Zenith, I just don't want to push everything to them at once. So we're looking at creating some kind of a lab system to also help developers launch faster.
Wow.
Well, to answer your question directly, I would say it's in terms of technology. They want to stick to the traditional part, but no, I am the word runner. I want us to add anything with the trend in the market. We should follow the trend in the market. That is what I always want.
That's awesome. And coming back to the event we had in Lagos, Nigeria, the theme was Wake Up the Lion. So I think, we have one lion in front of us. Jonathan, thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to event we're going to have in Abu Dhabi that's going to take place in November. So Web3 Delight is coming to United Arab Emirates. It's going to be definitely a very, very loaded event with quite a large number of speakers and very interesting and diverse topics. On a closing note, anything you would like to share with our audience?
Okay. I would say everyone should believe in themselves, because, getting to this point, I really never believed I will even travel out of Nigeria.
Yeah.
Getting to this point up to now without any much family support or anything like that. So I would say everyone should believe in themselves. And, there's always this inner entrepreneurial spirit in everyone. So procrastination never helps at all.
Yeah.
I did procrastinate a lot, but just one morning, get started with something. You will reach there. You might never have the idea at once, because ideas comes in bits and pieces. So that's just it.
That's so awesome. And thank you so much. On my part, I would just like to add to some points that Jonathan shared with us today. I have personally had the first experience of working with the wonderful people from Lagos, from broader Nigeria. I would like to say that, the whole project, the whole endeavor was massive. We had over 40 people involved. Not a dime went missing. Everything was perfectly smooth. Everybody actually contributed above and beyond. We had something like 15 volunteers, and I would definitely recommend that to organizations that are looking to grow, that are looking for talent, not to miss the opportunity to engage Nigeria. And it's definitely, a land of wonders. So thank you so much, everybody. That's it for this session.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.